Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our first meeting of 2026. Certainly, the clock is marching on as we approach the end of this term of council. We do have a few people that are joining us by Zoom tonight. Andrew Fournier, councillor from Hibbert, will be on Zoom, as well as Adam Ryan, our roads man, is also on Zoom. And our engineer for a couple of the drains, Chris Dietrich, is also on Zoom. So they will be joining us as we go along. We have a fairly lengthy agenda. I don't know if it's going to take us very long, but there's a lot of stuff on there tonight. So we will get started. Just before we call the meeting to order, though, I would ask that council and our guests, if they so wish, we bow our heads for a moment of silent reflection. Okay, thank you. All right, so we call this meeting to order. The first item is confirmation of the agenda. It was circulated. I don't believe there's anything further to add, so it'll be as it was sent out. Do we have a mover and seconder to confirm the agenda? Councillor Rose and Councillor Foster seconds it. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. Does anybody have a conflict of interest with anything on the agenda tonight? Don't see any hands going up, but if you find yourself later on in the meeting that it could be a conflict, you can declare it at that time. We do have a number of items on the consent agenda, 12 to be exact. Is there anything there that anybody would like clarified or pulled and dealt with separately? And I could. Oh, sorry, Andrew?
Yeah, sorry. There was I'm having trouble flipping between screens here on my computer. But there was the resolution from the council of Minden Hills, I believe it was. It was regarding the removal of the strong mayor powers.
Okay, too.
Yeah. No, it's not so much that I even want to ask the council to approve the letter or anything like that. It's just that if you look at the recorded vote on that motion, it seems to indicate a pretty good reason why some councils may be concerned about the Strong Mayor Powers Act. And I just wanted to bring that up for my colleagues' consideration, if they don't mind.
Okay, so noted. And I noticed that as well, Councillor Fournier, and there could be a dozen reasons why it went the way it did, not knowing the politics or the background involved. It could be a number of things, but so noted. So are you wanting to pull that and deal with it or not?
I don't believe so. I don't think it gets quite to that level. I just wanted to bring that recorded vote forward for some consideration.
Right.
Perhaps at some point we want to forward a letter of the same sort, and starting with just consideration of what the Strong Mayor Powers Act could mean for the sort of council that would vote unanimously against their mayor is the sort of thing that we should consider. It's not an issue that we have around here. But it is an issue that perhaps our colleagues are facing elsewhere.
Okay, yep, so noted. And we, over the last number of months, we've had a number of resolutions from different municipalities that have also indicated they wanted the strong mayor powers reversed. And I would say likely to no avail. It kind of like pushing a rope uphill. I think the province has decided that's the way they're going to go, and looks like that's their decision. So anyway, so noted, Andrew. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, so as I get back here, we have 12 resolutions. We didn't get a mover seconder on that. I think Andrew came in, didn't he? Yeah. Okay. So if there's nothing else in the consent agenda that anybody wants addressed, a mover and seconder to accept the consent agenda would be in order. I'm going to take two over here this time. So Councillor Phelps and Councillor Harold. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, we do have a delegation tonight. We have Tracy Annett from the General Manager of Upper Thames Conservation Authority. And she's just coming, I think, with a whole bundle of good news here tonight. So Tracy, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you so much for having me, Mayor Mackenzie. I've got a presentation. I've got a number of materials that have been provided as well in your agenda packages, page 153 through to 191, quite a large bunch of things, but we really have a number of materials. One, our letter that we provide out to our municipalities to inform everyone that we are undertaking our budget, our draft budget. A handout specific for each municipality that highlights some of the municipal impacts, and then our full budget package. So with this presentation, it's a bit of a high level overview of everything that's included in those materials. So I always like to start off with our watershed to remind everyone that, yes, we're a little different than municipalities. We follow a watershed boundary. We have a long history in the province, and really to recognize that history was formed on a partnership between our municipalities and the provincial government. We always provide those programs and services that are local, that reflect those long-standing goals to provide as much programs and services reflective of our watershed to our local municipalities as possible through leveraging. And that leveraging is the municipal investment that we undertake through our partnerships, through extension services, and provide that return on investments that we're gaining from our municipalities to deliver those programs and services, again, that benefit the broader watershed. A reminder as well, a few years ago, conservation authorities all had to categorize our programs and services into those that are mandatory, that have those legislative requirements, were mandatory. They're identified by the province for services that we have to undertake and where municipal levy is to be used without having any agreements required. We have non-mandatory programs and services, and those can be those services where municipalities are required to undertake, often legislatively, but are requesting the Conservation Authority to do on their behalf. An example of that is risk management services, resource protection planning for a number of our municipalities. And then we have other programs and services that really, when we're looking at a watershed basis, the Conservation Authority advises that they're best served on that watershed basis and implemented throughout the watershed. And those are where we have our agreements in place. So with that context, we go about developing our budget. We really want to make sure that we're providing stability in delivering our mandatory programs and services at the current service levels. We're always reflecting any costs of living adjustments, step increases, as we have in wanting to ensure that we keep our staff and retention and have competitive pay. There are certainly inflation costs, and those inflation costs vary depending on projects, whether it's cost of living or when we're looking at construction costs, when we have a great number of infrastructure that need maintenance. And we're seeing high rates of that over the last few years in the neighborhood of 14.5%. We also have a number of multi-year contracts that we're including in our budget. Some, for example, with the Canada Water Agency is a multi-year funding program that's extending over 5 years. We have staffing to support succession planning included in our budget, especially senior positions to make sure that we have that continuity of being able to provide those services. And then we have anticipated that the fees free will be extended. We haven't had our minister's direction yet, but we're expecting that might have been a bit of an oversight, and that's still to come. So we're also anticipating some changes in some of our other federal funding. So that's been included in this draft budget. When we're talking overall for our Category 1 programs, we just have a slight deficit in this draft right now, around 49,000. Generally for our Category 2 programs, they're largely balanced, some surplus, but those were anticipated to be offset for future years. And then our Category 3 programs, we kind of split between all of our watershed category programs, those extension services, and our campgrounds. We did have a projection and deficit proposed. as we were anticipating a few other contracts to find out at the end of year and early in the year. And we have been successful in a few of those contracts as well. We just found out this week, so that number is going to be changing too. And as with our campgrounds, we do have a projected surplus, but we also recognize we've got a lot of infrastructure needs and capital investment needed in those campgrounds. So that will be put forward to those uses. Overall, with our operating funding sources, we always do a large piece of the pie to show where those funding dollars are coming from. Overall, with our municipal levies, West Perth's amount there is just over 200,000, and shows that amount in context, sorry, with the rest of our watershed municipalities. You can see that proportion really split between that levy amounts in the dark blue, our self-generated revenue in that light green, and then a number of different contract sources. The federal contract that I was just speaking of, we do have some municipal contracts and those Category 2 programs and services, and then also what we get from the province. And I always point out when we're talking about our provincial transfer payments, we don't see a lot of change, especially when it comes under the Conservation Authorities Act. That $181,213 has been the same for the last number of years. With our operating expenses side, we do break those out between our different categories of programs and services. You can see the bulk of what we're providing are those Category 1 mandatory programs and services. Everything from our environmental planning and regulations, water management, land management activities, the provincial drinking water program, as well as provincial water quality monitoring for both surface and groundwater, our watershed strategy implementation, and then those essential corporate costs. And you can see the distribution is around with the other programs and services that we're providing. With our capital budget, we do have capital work planned again in 2026. A lot of that is about maintenance of our aging infrastructure. I know municipalities are in the same boat. There's lots of aging infrastructure to maintain. But we recognize that those capital costs in our case really vary depending on the municipality, because we also have special benefiting amounts. So it impacts our different municipalities depending on what special benefiting sources you have. Again, depending on the type of project, we are seeing changes between 5 and 17% based on that construction index. But when it comes to capital, we always do apply for other sources of funding. The Water and Erosion Control Infrastructure Program is a big one that we apply for, but those two have very limited funds, caps at 5 million, and that's throughout the province of Ontario. So all CAs are eligible for that. Sometimes it can be very competitive for those dollars. So as soon as we know about additional funding sources, we update our draft budget to reflect those sources. When it comes to benefit-based capital in West Perth, of course, we have both the capital and operating, because we deal with the operation and maintenance as well to those capitals, and those all fall under those benefit-based amounts. Fullerton Dam, we know we've got some additional studies and safety signage there in the amount of just over 60,000. Again, these are just rough estimates. Mitchell Dam, there's a number of projects that were being proposed related to emergency power, some safety equipment, the assessment of the sluice gates, and an environmental assessment. We're still in discussion with staff about which projects might be brought forward. These were just our preliminary amounts. I know there was a discussion back in October, just before sending out this draft budget, but those conversations will continue before we finalize any of these projects. And then certain small amounts for each municipality when it comes to Wildwood Dam and Pittock Dam. This is a significant reduction in the amounts from last year, if you're wondering. I think it was in the neighborhood of 365,000 last year. So you'll see some adjustments reflected in that with some of those projects completed. Moving on. When we're talking about our general and benefit-based structure levies, I always like to kind of show it in this bar chart. When we're talking about our general levies, in brown there, we kind of separate out those amounts for both operating and capital. So you have a better sense of how much of the budgets are partitioned in that way. And then also the benefit-based amounts. Certainly when we're talking about the operating, it's a small amount this year because we have a large number of capital projects. Most of them, some of the larger projects were proposed in London, West London Dyke. So you can see those portions for West Perth as well. And as I mentioned earlier, that distribution changes for each municipality. So put the actual amounts for each municipality, including West Perth there, so you have that in context. Overall, we have seen some levy changes from 2025. We're aiming for a 4.9% overall. We're talking dollar values in West Perth, and those percentages, again, they change on municipalities because we do look at current value assessment, and that current value assessment is provided from the province. So that those numbers change annually. West Perth, I think it was around 4.4% overall, around $5,000 change. When it comes to our cost apportioning support, again, a change in around $365 and around the 3.8% mark there. So less than these broader numbers that are the averages over all of our municipalities. And again, as I mentioned, there is some significant reduction in the capital costs this year for West Perth, down about 128,000. So again, when we look overall, our budget change is about 0.97 when we consider both operating and capital. But again, it's changed significantly for West Perth. I also like to highlight some of our cost apportioning agreements. We've had these in place for the last number of years to provide everything from stewardship to restoration, delivering landowner stewardship programs. I'll get into a slide in the next slide to detail that a little bit more. Tree Power, I know we've had our second annual Tree Power event here back in May, giving out 300 trees. So again, those affordable trees going to local residents to help enhance their own properties and provide that stewardship approach and address climate change. We have our sub-watershed planning and monitoring, and that helps to make science-based decisions and informed decision-making. We do a lot of aquatic sampling for sites in West Perth for fish, another 7 sites for benthic that help to better understand our local aquatic needs, and then a number of community and outreach events. We want to empower our communities and youth so that they have that information to make informed decisions as they grow. Everything from Children's Water Festival. I know it was in St. Mary's this last year. I think we might be getting around to having it in Mitchell again. It's been up in Listowel as well, but it draws from that broader community in Perth County. And then we also provide a park pass program, providing park passes so that people can sign them out from the local library here in West Perth and have entrance into our parks for the day. That's been successful as well. But when I talk about stewardship, highlighting some of the projects that have happened in West Perth this last year, 45 projects. We've had the number there, just over 4,600 trees planted, total acres restored or enhanced, over 7,000 acres. Again, some of those big drivers, the majority of those projects are related to cover crops and reduced tillage practices on those acreage. The total project costs, again, over 372,000. But then through cost share and through some of these grant programs, we've been able to give back to the local community over $217,000. So a big thank you to West Perth for supporting these cost apportioning agreements so that we can get out there, but also even a bigger thank you to our agricultural community for implementing these projects on the landscape to help reduce water quality and that phosphorus reduction. So it's been great. When I look at the cost apportioning agreement, the amounts for West Perth, that contribution is just over $9,000, and seeing the amount of work going on the landscape just in stewardship alone is quite impressive. So with this is our draft budget. Again, we circulated this to municipalities. We provided that budget overview as a bit of a communications tool. We've been going out and doing presentations to other budget committees and councils for any input. Knowing this is still a draft, we go back to our board at the end of the month in January to receive comments that have been provided on our budget. And then in February, we take it to our annual general meeting for consideration and hopefully for finalization at that time. So we have all that we know for now, but the big question is future budgets. Always like to, I know this has been discussed, but there is a proposal to change Conservation Authority's boundaries, consolidate the conservation authorities in our area. There would be the proposed Lake Erie Regional Conservation Authority and you share with the Asable Bayfield in Maitland, and they would go to the Huron Regional Conservation Authority. This would change significantly the way we operate in our region. It would be amalgamating those 8 CAs, 81 member municipalities within this new regional conservation authority. Our budget process is unknown. Our governance process is unknown. But we know for 2026, it's the status quo. So certainly recognize that there's still changes coming, but our budget at this time is to recognize what we anticipate for this year and knowing that future years are uncertain. With that, either myself or your deputy can answer any questions, because he is also our budget chair, or not our budget chair, our board chair. So I understand your budget chair. So any questions, happy to answer them. Welcome.
There we go. Yeah, just had to reboot. Just before I ask if any has any questions, it kind of relates back to what Councillor Fournier said about the strong mayor powers. And we've seen several resolutions here with regards to the what the province is trying to do, the conservation authorities. And, you know, I don't know how many resolutions we've seen over the last few months, but I have not seen one yet that was in favor. You know, it's really, I think, kind of upset the apple cart, and there's quite a bit of concern. So, any questions for Tracy on anything here? Anything? Well, okay, we'll take a question from Councillor Foster.
With the signage at the Fullerton Dam, when we're spending that amount of money for a dam that we're intending to remove very shortly, it doesn't seem all that sensible, I guess.
Yes, if I get through the mayor to Councillor Foster. Yeah, just a bit of clarification. That is kind of, signage is one of them. There are some still requirements for public safety, and a big chunk of that, I think 45,000, is really more tied to finishing the studies now. Preferred alternative is coming through and making motions on that. Again, those were just round draft figures. We're still in discussions about refining those before they're finalized.
Thank you.
And I didn't put them up to that. Just so you know. Other questions? Do you have anything further you want to add, Dean?
Through you, Mayor McKenzie, thank you. Thanks, Tracy, for your presentation. I guess the only thing I can add to Tracy's presentation is in terms of increases in levy. It's trending in the right way, the way the board wants it to trend. You may recall it was the 2024 budget, very large levy increase, 14-15%, something like that, Tracy, just because the authority had some catching up to do in various areas, as well as the province had mandated increased service levels. As a consequence, the costs were up, but now last year was, I think, in the double digits or around 10%. Now we're somewhere in the 5, 6, 7%, depending which municipality you might be in within the watershed, but the numbers are trending in the right direction. The board is cognizant always of costs, staff are cognizant of costs as always, and we're doing our best to keep things as efficient, cost efficient, and labor efficient as possible. We're doing the best with what we've got. That's my comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dean. Anybody else? Last comments? Okay, well, thank you very much for coming, Tracy, and yeah, do keep my suggestion in mind when you go back, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, moving on, the next item that I have on our agenda is the boundary agreements from the Director of Operations. And Adam, I believe, is online on Zoom, and he can walk us through that report.
Thank you, Your Worship. Can everyone hear me?
Yep, we can hear you quite well.
Great, thanks. So tonight I have for you a report looking to extend our boundary agreements between West Perth and the municipality of Perth South and Perth East. Those agreements we have had around for quite some time now. However, they did expire at the end of December in 2025. So we are just looking to extend those another 10 years to expire in 2035. No significant changes to the agreements. I'm sure you're all aware. It's just it's obviously good practice for us to have these agreements in place. It assists us. It's a more cost-effective way of managing those roadways that we share with our neighbors, and it's good for relations all around. So fairly simple and straightforward. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to take them now.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Any questions for Adam on that? The only question I have, Adam, I guess we still have a couple agreements to do with other neighboring municipalities.
Yes, I believe I'd have to check into that. I believe they expire at the end of this year, so we have another year with those.
Okay, so they don't all come due at the same time.
No, that's
No.
correct.
Okay, no, fair enough, fair enough. Oh, Nicholas, go ahead.
Mayor McKenzie, I was wondering at the same time as we were discussing these boundary or that Adam was discussing these boundary agreements, were there any structures that came up in the discussion about maintenance or replacements that the boundary agreement would be useful for, or we would have to do something outside of the agreement?
Yeah, through you, Your Worship. There is nothing in the budget this year for that, not with these agreements anyway. There is one with Huron County, I believe, bridge project. But usually with projects on the boundary roads, we give each other several years grace period. We have preliminary discussions on what we're thinking, and then we usually give each other, a year or two grace period to properly plan for that. So. The outlook, we don't have anything in the next few years with either of these municipalities.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we do have a recommendation here to deal with this. And it's that the Council of the Municipality of West Perth approve the 10-year extension of our boundary road agreement between the Municipality of West Perth and the Municipality of Perth South and Perth East, expiring December 31st, 2035, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign and seal all necessary documents. I have a mover and seconder, Councillor Phelps, Councillor Rose. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. So thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Now, with council's permission, I'm going to move item 6.8.1 with regards to the drains and the engineer that's involved on that, move them up to now. And then that frees Chris up if he wants to leave, and we still have our staff here. So it's just a little tweaking in the agenda, if that's okay with everybody. So the first one then is the 12th concession drain, and it's consideration of the engineer's report from Dietrich Engineering, and we do have Chris online. So Chris, I'll turn it over to you.
Is my volume all right there?
Yeah, you sound good, Chris.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor McKenzie and Council. I'm here to present my first report known as the 12th concession drain. This drain was authorized under a Section 78 request to relocate a portion of the main drain open and to extend branch B to where the new main drain is located. And this was dated December 2nd of 2024. So shown on this screen is the overall watershed contributing to this drain. And basically, now we can change to drawing number 2, which is a more zoomed in version of what's going on here. So you can see here, what we're doing is we're relocating the existing open ditch, which is shown by the red line there. We're relocating that by digging a new channel shown in yellow, and the banks would be shown by our dashed line. And that constitutes 331 meters of new open ditch and the enclosure of the existing drain, which is 315 meters. All located on lot 15 of concession 13, Fullerton Ward. Basically, the new channel will consist of having a 1.5 to 1 side slope and a 1 meter bottom width of the new trapezoidal channel. The existing main drain open shall be filled in with any available topsoil and subsoil that's taken out of the new channel that we're digging. Banks and buffer strips shall be hydroseeded, and the overall cost of work that basically is the construction, any allowances, and administration for this open ditch is $110,300. The second part of our project is to extend branch B, where it currently outletted on the south or the northwest corner of the existing ditch, which is no longer going to be there. And we're basically extending that drain by a twin pipe system. They're both 675 millimeter concrete pipes. And then we have 750 millimeter outlet pipes on top of that. Basically, the work, installation, construction, administration, and allowances comes to $89,300, which brings our total cost to $199,600. And at this time, I'd like to open it up to the mayor or council if there's any questions.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions for Chris on this particular drain? Councillor Vink?
Mayor McKenzie, through you, is there any concerns from any of the landowners? And have you addressed all of those concerns that there won't be any surprises at the Court Revision coming up?
Yeah, so basically we had an information meeting. There's only one landowner that's going to be assessed under this project, and it's the Wooters property. And they have no problems with that. Actually, we originally proposed to extend branch B at the current standard of drainage, which was installed back in 1981, at 3/4 of an inch, yet he wanted it to be extended at 1.5 inches or 38 millimeters drainage coefficient per the 24-hour. So there will be no questions from him, and I don't know if he's present there tonight.
Any other questions? Okay, we do have a recommendation here then, and I think we can deal with it if there's no further questions. That the municipality of West Perth accepts the report dated November 21st, 2025 from Dietrich Engineering Limited for the 12th concession municipal drain, and that council provisionally adopt the engineer's report for the 12th concession municipal drain by giving first and second readings to bylaw number 3, 2026, and that the quarter revision for the 12th concession municipal drain be scheduled for February the 2nd, 2026. Do we have a mover and seconder for that? Moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor Harold. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. Thank you. The next municipal drain we have is the Weir municipal drain. And again, we have Chris Dietrich from Dietrich Engineering, who was in charge of this drain. And I'll turn it back over to you, Chris.
Thank you, Mayor McKenzie. So I'm here right now to present the Weir Municipal Drain 2025. This was a tricky one. We had authorization to construct these drains under 3 separate requests under Section 78. Originally, we were asked to relocate a portion of this open ditch, which runs through, I guess that would be lot 3 of concession 15. And that was from August 22nd of 2024. From that meeting, we had an additional request come in to update branch number 2. That was on August 11th of 2025. And a third request to update branch number 4. And that was on September 2nd of 2025. So shown on this screen is basically a large watershed showing all the contributing acres that would go through the open ditch, including the branch drains. Now we can change to drawing number 2, which is just a zoomed in version of our work. Drawing number 2 shows the work that we're going to be doing. The new open drain is going to be constructed on lot 3 of concession 15 along the southerly property line. Is that southerly? Sorry, easterly property line. The north arrow screwed me up there. The red line represents the existing open ditch that is currently there. So we're enclosing approximately 882 meters of channel. And we're digging 1,096 meters of open drain. We'll have a 1.5 to 1 side slope on the new open ditch, and they will be hydroseeded accordingly. Basically, the construction, the allowances, and the administration of digging this new ditch comes to $288,900. The second request that we had was to update branch number 2. This is shown in green. We're basically trying to construct this in a new area to get to the new open ditch, as the existing one is not there. So this consists of installing 221 meters of 450 millimeter diameter concrete tile and high-density polyethylene pipe, along with 20 meters of a 500 millimeter smooth wall steel casing under the paved roadway. So basically the total cost of the construction, allowances, and administration for branch number 2 comes to $87,200. Our third request was to update branch number 4, shown in pink. This drain consists of the installation of 906 meters of 300 millimeter diameter tile at the top end, going down to 450 millimeter tile at the bottom end. Also, we are having a 400 millimeter smooth wall steel casing installed under the roadway by the boring method under line 53. The total cost of that work for construction, allowances, and administration comes to $156,500, bringing the total of all the work involved to $532,600. And with that, I'm hoping to answer any questions from the mayor or council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Questions from council on this? Sure, go ahead.
Mayor McKenzie, could I ask the same question as last time, whether the engineer has had a chance to address all concerns with the landowners that we won't have any surprises at the Court of Revision?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Basically, we had an information meeting just at the beginning of January. Went over all our designs and everything like that, and they seem to take things pretty well. So I don't really expect anything to come from the landowners on this particular drain.
Okay, I believe we do have one landowner here. Any comments? I'll maybe just get you to come up to the speaker so that he can hear you.
Okay, I'm a landowner of lot 4 on concession 16. We are looking to drain that farm, and I wasn't sure if the drain, which is labeled number 3, was adequate sizing to go into which I guess would be the new open number 3. There's no real mapping or information on file for that. Do you know anything about that?
Chris, that's a question for you, I think.
That would be. So there's been multiple reports prepared on this weir drain. Basically from 1927. That's where they designed branch number 3, 1927. So that's how old that would be. And that was done through the municipality of North Perth as well as the municipality of West Perth. Back then it was Elma Ward and Logan Ward, but nothing's been done since that. Actually, here in our stuff, it was updated under a report dated 1940. So 1940 was the last time that work was done on branch number 3.
Okay, I purchased the farm, give or take 10 years ago, and the previous landowner said it used to be an open ditch through lot number 3, and they filled it in without notifying anybody. Basically, they did it themselves. So is that something I should look into before, or can you guys look into that? Or do you have record if that section was at one point open? I guess that's all.
Okay, so under the 1940 report, I'm reading in my report because I had all of the existing history on this drain. Branch number 3 was upgraded by enclosing 2,316 linear feet of open drain by means of a tile system in lots 3 and 4.
Okay. And then if I'm the owner of 16 or that lot, I'm subject to pay for the branch number 3, the open section, and the rest will be
So the reason, sorry to interrupt,
Yep.
the reason you got a report is we changed the future maintenance of that branch number 3.
Okay.
As before, it used to be part of the main drain. So now the open portion of branch number 3 only serves a few lots there in concession 15 and 16, lot 4. And there's another lot, basically lot 5 would also be involved.
Okay.
But
Okay.
for you to upgrade that tile, you would have to sign a section 78 to have an engineer appointed and to look at the watershed and what have you.
Okay, so there's no record on how big it is or what it's capable of.
Well, I probably do have the 1940 report here, but that'll take me some time and
Yep.
we'll
Okay.
get into that later.
Okay. No, I appreciate your time. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
So I guess further to that, Chris, would it be possible, down the road that you could just double check the sizes on that and then get back to this gentleman?
Yeah, I'm assuming it's not going to be very big, being that it was built in 1940.
Yeah,
And I'm thinking a 1/2 inch drainage coefficient, or that's how much water could handle over 24 hours. But I'll look further into it. In these old reports, they didn't state their design standard used. So, through process of going through all the calculations and things like that, we'd be able to fill out what it's exactly designed to. And I can do that, no problem.
okay, thank you. Any other questions from members of council? Okay, we do have a recommendation here, and that the municipality of West Perth accepts the report dated November the 21st from Dietrich Engineering for the Weir Municipal Drain, and that council provisionally adopt the engineer's report for the Weir Municipal Drain by giving first and second reading to bylaw number 4, 2026, and that the court of revision for the Weir Municipal Drain be scheduled for February the 2nd, 2026. Do we have a mover and seconder for that? Looking at, I can take the deputy mayor, and he's in Logan. I'm looking at Diane, maybe. Yep, thank you, Diane. Councillor Chessel. Last call, any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, now we're going to jog back to where we were. Next item then is treasurer's report, the education property tax rates and tax policies. So Treasurer McMurray, you can have the floor and give us all the good news.
I'm gonna try my computer without my mouse and see how it goes tonight. So the report before you is for the education and some updates from the province on some tax policies. So in the report, you'll note that there's no changes to the education rate. And your levy in 2026 is approximately 3.3 million for education. The report also identified a few of the changes in tax policies, but I'll just highlight the one that the province intends to hold property assessment value stable across the province and will continue to defer it for the 2026 year. So if there's any other questions on the report, I'd be happy to take them.
Okay, any questions for the treasurer on this? Okay, if not, we do have a recommendation here, and that the municipality of West Perth receives the 2026 education property tax rate and tax policies report for information. Moved by Councillor Rose, seconded by Councillor O'Donnell. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And the next one is an annual event that we have, the 2026 interim tax and temporary borrowing bylaw. Wendy?
That's a mouthful to say, isn't it? So in this report, we talk about the ability to have an interim tax levy. And so that allows us to issue the tax bill for February and May. And we're looking at 50% of what was last year, so approximately $10.7 million being collected in that billing. And then you'll find the bylaw under the bylaw section in the agenda. And then the temporary borrowing bylaw, that is just more of an annual housekeeping thing. It allows us to borrow in the case our cash flow isn't working the way we would like it to, but we're in a good financial position and we don't foresee borrowing, but the bylaw is in place just in case. So if there's any questions, I'd gladly take them.
Okay, questions for the treasurer? Have we ever borrowed?
Not that I'm aware of,
I didn't think we
No.
had, yeah,
but our banking agreement has a letter of credit or a
yeah.
line of credit available to us. They just need this bylaw in place to enforce it.
Okay. Last call for questions? Okay, we do have a recommendation here that municipality of West Perth receives the 2026 interim tax and temporary borrowing bylaw report for information. Moved by Councillor Vink, seconded by Councillor Foster. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. Thank you, Wendy. The next item then is planning service level agreement renewal. So, CAO?
Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening, Council. Before Council tonight is an information report, just advising you that we've let the automatic renewal on our planning services with the county planning services just renew automatically. So as of January 1st, 2026, the agreement it's just been renewed and extended for another 5-year term. If there's any questions or concerns about that, we can certainly go back to the county and discuss those matters. But at this point, staff do not have any. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, don't see any. So the motion that we have is the municipality of West Perth receives the planning service level agreement renewal report for information. Moved by Councillor Phelps, seconded by Councillor Harold. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. We have a couple items under correspondence there. More or less, I think, just for information. It was there for your perusal over the weekend. So the recommendation that we have is that the municipality of West Perth accept the correspondence as information. Do we have a mover and seconder for that? Councillor Rose. Councillor O'Donnell, thank you. Any questions or any thoughts about the correspondence? I should give you an opportunity to question it if you do. Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. We do have a number of bylaws. Looks like 6 to be exact. And we will, yes, can we split them up, James? Well, I guess we can do first and second for them all and then just do third reading on the first 3. That would be the simplest, wouldn't it? Okay.
Just so you exactly, yeah. We've got it. One over.
Yep. Yep, okay.
That'll work.
I'm looking, I think I had looked at this before. Yeah, yep. No, we're good, I think. Okay, so the recommendation is that the Council Municipality of West Perth give first and second readings to bylaw number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 this 12th day of January. Do we have a mover and seconder to give it 2 readings? Deputy Mayor Trnkowski, Councillor Phelps. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. And then that the Council of the Municipality of West Perth give third and final reading to bylaw number 1, number 2, number 5, 6, this 12th day. Moved by Councillor Harold, seconded by Councillor O'Donnell. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that is carried. Down to coming events, there is couple things coming up. Our next regular council meeting is the 26th of January. The rest is an open house at MDHS on the 13th, Bondsfield in our arena on the 17th, and a blood donor clinic on the 23rd. Any notices of motion? None that I'm aware of. Okay. Any other business at this particular time? Quiet between Christmas and New Year's. Nobody had issues. We do have a public meeting. We do have a closed session to deal with some tenders. And the recommendation that we have here is that the Council Municipality of West Perth proceed into closed session under section 239, subsection 2 of the Municipal Act as amended, 7:52. Is that what I put in there? 7:52 p.m. to address matters related to personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality, and position, plan, procedure, criteria, instruction to be applied for to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on behalf of the municipality by a local board, fire service agreement, integrity commissioner agreement. Do we have a mover and seconder go into closed session? So Councillor Rose and Councillor Foster, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? We are in from closed session, and we just gave direction to staff to deal with a few items that we talked about, land transfer, the fire service agreement, some HR updates, and the agreement for our integrity commissioner. So staff will be coming back with some updates on that at a future meeting. We are down to, yeah, we're down to the confirmatory bylaw. So the recommendation, as usual, is bylaw number 7, 2026, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of Corporation of the Municipality of West Perth be read a first and second time this 12th day of January. So the confirmatory bylaw, yeah, I guess Councillor Rose, Councillor Foster, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? And bylaw number 7, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of Corporation of the Municipality of West Perth be read a third time and finally passed this 12th day of January. And Councillor Fournier, can I get you in here somewhere?
Yep, still right here.
Okay, good. You're going to move that for me. The third reading, do we have a seconder? Councillor Harold, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And motion that we adjourn at 8:44. Deputy Mayor, is there anybody that I haven't got tonight? Ryan, did I get you for a motion? I think, didn't I? But who did? I got him. Oh, okay. All right. So, yep, his hand is up. So who moved that? No, got me. Oh, Dean moved it. Councillor Fournier seconded it. Okay, you're in there twice, Andrew.